This week, why feathered dinosaurs ruled, big splatter matters, you have no free will, why Aussie voting is great, and Carl Sagan's prescient lecture. How on earth did dinosaurs rule the Jurassic period? Most geologists suspect the preceding Triassic period came to a spectacular end from enormous volcanic eruptions that changed the global climate, helping yeet nearly 80% of the planet's flora and fauna into the afterlife. This extinction event mostly affected marine life, but how it impacted life on land has been a long-standing puzzle. Geologists weren't sure if the conditions the dinosaurs survived were a global heat wave or a cold snap. Well, now there's evidence that it was a cold snap. You see, if ice forms along the edge of a lake, rocks and dirt on the shore can freeze into it, and when it breaks away into deeper water, it melts and drops its particulates. Researchers spotted evidence of this in the same rock layers filled with preserved dinosaur footprints, suggesting Arctic dinosaurs roamed around in freezing winter conditions. The research team argues that the dinosaurs that survived this period had insulating feathers and filaments. Basically, everything that was not insulated on land went extinct. Have you heard of the windshield phenomenon? It's where people have noticed fewer insects squashed on their windscreens compared to several decades ago. Now, if you think a world without creepy crawlies would be great, you're being stupid. As Sir David Attenborough puts it, if we and the rest of the backboned animals were to disappear overnight, the rest of the world would get on pretty well. But if the invertebrates were to disappear, the world's ecosystems would collapse. For example, trillions of bugs pollinate around 3/4 of US food crops, a service worth nearly $500 billion a year. Bugs are also vital to the decomposition that keeps nutrients cycling, soil healthy, plants growing, and ecosystems running. Consider also that by eating and being eaten, insects turn plants into protein and power the growth of all the uncountable species on Earth. Without bugs, we're boned, and while nature is resilient, we're pushing her to such extremes that eventually the system will collapse. Free will is the sensation of making a choice. The sensation is real, but the choice seems illusory. Laws of physics determine the future. That's what theoretical physicist Brian Greene had to say in a recent interview with Financial Review. According to him, thoughts and actions are interactions between elementary particles which themselves are bound by the immutable laws of mathematics. So, do we have no more options in how we respond to the world around us compared to, say, a fish? Yes and no. Brian says that while all living systems are governed by the laws of physics, the spectrum of behaviors our organized structure allow us to engage in is broader than that of a fish. The interview dives into consciousness and the end of our universe and is well worth a read. And if you want to see Brian live on stage, get your tickets to our 2023 tour around Australia and New Zealand. Just head to thinkinc.org.au. Fellow Aussies, let's take a moment and appreciate how good we've got it. Peter Singer has penned an opinion piece on how our preferential voting system should be used in countries with increasingly polarized politics. He outlines how, in our recent election, teal independents, those candidates with conservative economic policies but are green on climate, won seats staunchly held by the Liberals, not because they had the most first preference votes, but because voters gave their preferences to the independents ahead of the Libs. According to Peter, extremism flourishes in voting systems in which the candidate with the most votes wins, even if the winner has the support of a minority of voters. Allowing voters to express their second or third preferences helps moderates defeat extremists. So Aussies, here's a reminder that your vote will always count, and if you'd like to see Peter Singer live on stage in Auckland on Saturday, August 6th, get your tickets at thinkinc.org.au. Steven Pinker and Harvey Silvergate have transcribed and lightly edited an uncannily prescient lecture given by the late Carl Sagan around 1987. It highlights the virtues common to science and civil liberties needed to deal with freedom of speech, skepticism, and much more. One idea Carl expressed that's living rent-free in my head is technology is growing at a worryingly fast rate, forcing on us wholly unexpected consequences. To face these challenges, we need a broadly diffused understanding of science and technology to find rational adjustments and accommodations to these new technologies. We also desperately need error-correcting mechanisms. We're only human, we'll make mistakes, and in our hands is a set of new tech that, in many cases, we barely know how to control. While those in charge may pretend otherwise, we need to consider how we ensure the most serious sorts of errors don't occur. Right now, we're living through the effects of climate change, the ills of social media, microplastics in our blood. It's a concern we really need to address. Go give the article a read on Quillette. That's all for this week. Don't forget, we're bringing Peter Singer to Auckland on Saturday, August 6th, and we're holding a 30% off sale at our shop on books, merch, and much more. Just head to thinkinc.org.au to get your tickets or shop the sale. See you next time.